what happens is, as I told you, there are three avenues of deficit financing. Now, governments try to look at other avenues, not so much the printing of money, partly because of the fact that it has such a lot of bad publicity, politically sensitive. But nevertheless, governments do resort to this money printing or borrowing money from the central bank for 2 or 3 reasons. One is, now as you refer to the newspaper item to say that the largest chunk of money being printed by central bank on such a date. Now this doesn't make sense. Just because a particular day it happened doesn't make sense. But what happens is, over cumulatively how the money has been borrowed by the central bank, from the central bank. But at the same time, government borrows when the expenditures are due to be settled. So when you have large expenses arising for number of reasons, so these situations you have to honor those bills because government can't default. So government borrows money. Whether it has any other implications is a different thing. So it's simply on a need basis. Government just does not just take money for this because the central bank will give you the money. So that doesn't happen. There's a second reason why the government borrows from the central bank is there's an alternative. Government can go to the money markets and borrow. Government, not like any other individual, is the largest demander of cash. So because of the size of the government borrowing, it basically disturbs the money market systems. Now in the present government setup, they are trying to hold a low interest rate policy. Now what is interest rate? Interest rate is the price of money, market price of money. If there is more demand for money, the interest rates are supposed to go up. If there is a more supply of money, interest rates are supposed to go down. Now here what you are trying to do is, you are trying to maintain the interest rates at a low level. Why? It is important to keep the economic growth machine going. So you have given it as a policy, look, we are going to keep the interest rates at this level for the next 5 years. So therefore, they have to be very careful in coming to the money markets and borrowing. So because of that, the governments may resort to borrow from the central bank to meet their expenses. Secondly, there are so much of expenses coming up, especially under the COVID situation, which are fairly large unplanned expenses. So that again is a situation where in a money market you can't just walk in as you like to meet up these expenses. So it is going to disturb the money markets again beyond the demand aspect of it. So therefore that's another reason you would find another valve of getting this money across to the system. So the money printing comes in that as well. Third point is, despite the fact that there is a lot of counter arguments about money printing and inflation and so on and so forth, these issues have not been a primary focus of any government now, because it has not shown the kind of theoretical positions that have been taken up. So as a result, the money printing is taking place without a serious problem being posed as a result of that. So this is how the money printing comes into the discussion of government expenditure funding in the modern current context.